Terry in Florida, did you work on one of these facilities?
Well, no, I didn't work in it, but it's a branch post office that I go into, and it has special rooms and like a jail and soundproof, and it's not like a normal post office that I grew up with. So those type of post offices do exist.
Oh, but and they admit 7 years ago they're going to be used during martial law and forced inoculation. That's another good point, Steve. I've noticed a lot of new post offices themselves are like armored prisons.
Absolutely. Even the little town I live in, Bozeman, our main post office, everything's done through guard gates going down into, they're electronic guard gates with passes. There's so much stuff going on in little communities. We're about, 40, 50,000 people here. But, Alex, everything is being hardened, okay? And the siege mentality. In Helena, Montana, we have one of the Federal Reserve banks. And, the guys that are familiar with what's going on up there, they said, Steve, it's like they're expecting a full-scale war against them.
Well, look, Steve, as you know, for 4 years, all the big money's been leaving the country.
Absolutely.
In a literal evacuation. John Wayne family is leaving. I confirmed that from Central Texas. I'll just leave it at that. And remember 3 months before the fake flu thing the feds put out, we had the emergency manager out of Indiana where the feds came to them and said, we're getting ready for millions dead from the flu. It will happen. They used that as a smokescreen to get their grid in place. And we confirmed it then out of the Bureau of Cemeteries was getting ready for it in New York State. And so clearly, and they told the emergency managers, they said, martial law, harden your police stations and fire departments from the citizens. Now, what is it the government's been planning where they think the citizens are going to be attacking all the police stations, Steve?
Well, first of all, it's going to be the financial shutdown of the country first and foremost, Alex. Look, you and I did the show the night that one day, let's remind everybody, one day we were at almost a level 5 bio-alert. The World Health Organization was going to take control. We were going to go...
Stay there. Fox News is reporting threatening Mexico tourist ad involving hunting Arizonans on national Mexican tourist websites. It's got a guy in camo with binoculars saying to the tourist, in Sonora, we are looking for people from Arizona. Mexico has such an aggressive stance towards the United States, and Calderon demanding we turn in our semi-automatic rifles, because we need to be slaves like the people of Mexico. I wanted to go to a final call for Steve Quayle here, Steve in New York. But, Steve, you were trying to finish a point when we slammed into break there.
Well, right. I just want to remind everybody the effect that was taking place. Remember, Alex, the night that we did the show, and I don't know if it was afternoon or a night. It was the afternoon show we did, and we prayed, and it was like everything was scheduled to go under martial law. Remember, the WHO had exerted their authority. The military was on alert. The military was giving command signals to everybody that this is it. And instantly, within 24 hours, and it was within 24 hours, the whole thing died down. I'm telling people, do not lose hope. Pray like you've never prayed before, that the evil deeds of darkness will be exposed to the light. And seriously, folks, this is the same kind of thing.
Well, but listen, they're talking about one false move by the south of the north. They're going to have a nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula. They're talking about going into Iran. They're talking about global financial meltdown any day. Clearly, we all need to be praying to God regardless, getting ourselves right with God, because, there are no atheists in foxholes. And the globalists, through crises after crises, get us conditioned to just accept crises. We need to get upset about these staged crises that are taking place. Steve in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
And the same as we're talking about post offices. It's not just post offices. They're building Army Reserve Centers with very heavily fortified center rooms in them. Which could potentially go to underground.
Yeah, they've got threat fusion centers, merging the military, the police, everything publicly. That's a good point. Steve?
Well, absolutely, and I want to share something. This country was supposed to be by the people, for the people. We're a republic, okay? But I think it's important for people to understand that as you and I, Alex, are broadcasting right now, there are people that are absolutely giving confirmation and information to different places around the country. By the way, fusion centers now, the military is linked into all domestic law enforcement, highway patrol, etc. So now the bottom line is they have their own digital codes. They can lock out specific police as well as allow them. And so one of the ways that I've tried to warn all these years over the blue list are those people that will be assisting in the destruction of their fellow Americans, primarily law enforcement. And after they've done their dirty work, Alex, those guys get whacked too. So please, if you're in law enforcement...
Folks, this isn't a joke. You've got Supreme Court nominees saying ban free speech and ban the Second Amendment. Anything else, Steve, in New York about how they're hardening all these government facilities?
Well, it's a new facility that they're building right here out my back door. I was only able to get the evidence by applying for a job there. And I saw the facility. I couldn't take any pictures because, of course, cameras weren't allowed.
Well, again, Steve, you're right on, because every facility that's being built now is being built for D-Day, whatever day that's determined to be. But the point is these are military fortresses. They're being manned with state-of-the-art weaponry, state-of-the-art surveillance, state-of-the-art satellite uplink and downlink capabilities, beyond state-of-the-art communications direct to the military. And Alex, what we are is a nation under siege, and we are a nation soon to be embroiled in the worst case scenario and nightmare ever imagined.
Yeah, they're locking us down, getting ready for World War III. And during World War III, they're going to attack the American people and outside enemies. Steve, amazing info. Thanks for contacting us with these Postal Service torture rooms. We've confirmed they are radically expanding them, and they do exist. Great job. SteveQuayle.com, Infowars.com is our site.